Welcome to the ValuePros Show, where Value Pros get value ready. Welcome back to the ValuePros Show. Today, we're thrilled to have with us a true powerhouse in the world of sales, Mark Hunter, known also far and wide as the Sales Hunter. With over 30 years of experience, Mark has helped thousands of sales professionals elevate their game and close high-value deals. His approach is all about creating value, not just in the products we sell, but in how we sell these products. Today, Mark will share insights from his best-selling book, A Mind for Sales, and unpack how we foster a mindset that consistently delivers value our buyers will love. Get ready for some truth bombs and practical tips that'll have you rethinking your approach to sales. Now let's dive in. Well, hey, Mark, thanks so much for being on the ValuePros Show. So excited to have you here. Everyone tuning in, watching, listening, this is Mark Hunter. His friends call him Hunter. I learned by reading his book, Mindset for Sales, over the weekend. Just fantastic book. Can't wait for everybody else to read this. But Mark, thanks so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me. We're going to talk sales, and what can be more fun than talking sales, right?
I'm telling you, especially, everybody, a little bit of backstory. Mark Hunter and myself were both in the National Speakers Association. I've been on our board for NSA Northwest for 5 years now as president. Now I'm past president. And let me tell you, Mark has created so much value for me and our chapter, but not just our chapter, literally nationwide, because right now he's sitting on the board and contributing to everyone in any way he can and creating value for us. So, Mark, I just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate you, not only for my show, ValuePros Show, but also for all of the NSA. Your service is unparalleled. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Life is just about giving. Life is about giving, helping others. And really, that's what sales is. It's just helping others. So I enjoy what I get to do and have fun doing it.
Thank you, Mark. Well, the title for this episode is How to Have a Mindset for Value. So Mark and I had a pre-meeting about this, and I was sharing with Mark our value-ready framework. So what we're trying to do with this framework, we're trying to turn sales reps into value professionals their buyers love. That's our mission. And to do that, we've got 4 key phases. You need to build trust. You need to understand your buyer's needs. You need to deliver insights, really help them see how their world would be different with your solution. And then you need to drive execution. Things don't sell themselves, and great sellers and value professionals especially show up to get the right approvals. Mark, I know you're an expert in negotiation as well. I really appreciate that. We might need to save that for another episode, though. And then also you want to be impact ready, just making sure your buyer gets what you promise. That's the integrity side of sales. But this is our whole value-ready framework. But what's missing is what Mark is most masterful in, and that's having a mindset for sales. We already heard that just now. So, Mark, I'm really excited for you to talk about that for us. And just before you do, I was reading Mark's book over the weekend, and also I was scrolling LinkedIn over the weekend, and I saw this visual by Vincent, and just loved it. Because Mark begins his book talking about how he was having a lot of windshield time driving across Eastern Oregon as one of his earlier jobs that he lets us know right out of the gate he got fired from. That's job number 1. Job number 2 also got fired. So I love how Mark shows up with humility to build credibility versus other people, guilty as charged, showing up talking about credentials and things they've accomplished. Mark's just saying, hey man, I've been there just like you, and I've figured out how to get to the mountaintop. So anyways, Mark, thanks for being humble in what you do and all your service. Totally dig it. So why don't we get into it, Mark? Why have a mindset for sales? What kind of thoughts would you have there for us?
Well, first of all, we got to back up the bus here a little bit and think about, what is sales really all about? Sales, and the reason I got fired from my first 2 sales jobs is because I thought sales is something you did to people. You basically did this to people, and that's totally wrong. Sales is what we do for people. And when you change your perspective from 2 to 4. What does that mean? That's not a numerical equation. No, 2 means I'm kind of jamming something down somebody's throat. 4 means I'm really serving them. I'm helping them. And when I began to understand that, when I began to realize that, it's amazing at how it changed. Sales completely changed in my own mind. That's the beauty. That's the power. Let me give you my definition of sales, because it really is a foundational piece. Definition of sales is to help others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. Now, in order for us to do that, we have to believe that ourselves. See, I can't lead anybody else until I first lead myself. So if I can't believe that I can help others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible, how can I do that for others? And if you stop and think about that, if we just stop and listen, and truly be in the moment, listening to the other person, demonstrating respect for what they have to say, valuing what they say, asking them questions on what they say, you know what's amazing? You're going to help them see and achieve what they didn't think was possible, because they may not even realize it either. That's the beauty of sales. I love it.
Yep. No, I love your definition. And Mark, I don't know if you know this about me, but I've built narratives for Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, et cetera, Tableau, pre-IPO, their whole sales story. But it really is bringing insight, an insight-driven story or narrative to that buyer to help them see something that they haven't seen before. Highlight the bad approach or the situation they're in. Help them see their situation in a new light. Get rid of the blind spot and help them to the new way, that future state. So I love your definition. It really, really resonates with me. The other thing about why having a mindset, Mark, that Anthony Iannarino wrote in your book, in your foreword, and I posted this on LinkedIn over the weekend, and people just loved it. But skill sets plus tool sets times mindset equals sales success. And it's interesting because before, people might be thinking about skill sets plus tool sets plus mindset equals sales success, treating all parts equal, but they're not. Mindset is the great multiplier. Even our, fanciful value-ready framework I showed, mindset drives all of that. And what I was thinking about, Mark, in terms of why this is just so critical to get your mindset right.
There's so much value in what you said there. Let's use the example of sports. We're recording this. It's in the fall. Football is happening. So you sit there and say skill sets and tool sets. Now, two players can have the identical skill sets in terms of being able to run and jump and catch and do things at exactly the same pace. They have the same tool sets. In other words, they both play with a football. They both have helmets. They both have pads. They both have all that. But why is one an exceptional athlete and the other is only an average? It's because of the mindset. It's because of their view, their perspective going into it. One of the things that I always value, and I always love to say, is that your mindset going into a sale predetermines the results you get coming out of it. Now, stop and think about what that means. What this means, very simply, is that if I visualize success, if I visualize that I'm going to be able to help them, it's amazing how I listen differently. I listen differently. I hear different things. I am more in tune to what the customer is saying. I'm more inquisitive to really asking the customer questions. And what happens is I come away with better information. This is why, and I've had this happen many, many times. I'll be working with a sales team, and salespeople have identical lead lists, identical sets of tools, identical everything. And one person says, "Wow, I'm been able to develop this, and this," and the other person says, "I haven't been able to develop anything." It's because of their mindset. I'll share with you a very quick story about mindset, and I'm not free to share the CEO's name, but CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And I was working with him. This goes back about 15 years ago now. And it was very interesting, but I got to know him fairly well. We did several things together. And I made the comment to him, I said, you are incredibly gracious, because we'd gone out to dinner a couple times, very nice restaurants and different things. He was always very gracious to the wait staff and just everything. We were participating in some meetings and the conference people there. He was very gracious. And I made the comment to him. I said, you're incredibly gracious. You're incredibly nice. And he kind of joked. He kind of passed it off. Well, that's what my mother always said. And I said, come on, knock it off. I didn't quite say that to him, but I told him. And he said, okay. He said, here's why. When I am gracious, when I'm nice, when I take the right perspective, I make better decisions. I make better decisions. During that CEO's career in his company, they endured several absolutely critical situations. His board stayed with him. 2, he served on the board of directors of several other Fortune 500 companies. They too went through major, major issues. And he was always one of the key architects of guiding them through the solution. You see, it was very interesting, but he had the mindset that my mindset going into a challenge is going to predetermine the results. Not necessarily that it's going to say it's going to be panacea and we're going to get, roses and kittens and everything's going to be nice. But it does say that, hey, I'm going to understand better. And so your mindset absolutely drives your perspective in every conversation you have all day long.
Yep. Thank you, Mark. Thanks so much. And back to your sports analogy. Did you catch the Olympian runner, the woman who was featured in the news, et cetera, this last Olympics? But she knew she was going to win gold. Kind of before the race, she was prepared to win gold. And then off the start of the race, she knew she knew she won. And the race wasn't over. But just her mindset driving that whole race just absolutely blew me away. Amazing.
Yeah. See, that's the mindset of a champion. Now, okay, that's a phrase that's been thrown around for years and years. But I'm really going to challenge you that this is why if we don't start out each day and with the expectation of I'm going to achieve success, success. And it is amazing because I have been on the phone this morning. I've been making several sales calls, been sending some emails and so forth already this morning. And one of the things that I found is this. I'm not necessarily trying to close the deal. I want to close the sale. But my objective is to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to have another conversation. Wow. Stop and think about that. Your goal is to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and the respect to be able to have another conversation. Again, that's all in the mindset. And the other person understands that. They see that. They begin to really pick up on that.
Well, Mark, I want to, if I could be selfish, I want to share some of the things that, the steps to take from your book, Mindset for Sales. I want to highlight for everybody, I'm showing all Mark's books that I've personally purchased. And thank you, Mark, for your service. Best money ever spent ever. With all the wisdom and experience and stories that you pack into these. But some of the steps that you talked about for mindset for sales, I really appreciated this one. And everybody listening and watching, Mark offers truth bombs. He's a nice guy, but he also doesn't hold back in terms of being of service to others. And I love this phrase, Mark. Low achievers don't take care of their bodies. And gosh, that is so true. Guilty as charged. I know when I don't eat right, don't sleep right, don't exercise right, etc., that's going to have an impact on my performance big time. And not just performance, but my mindset. I even know when I'm underslept, I'll probably be in a bad mood that day. And not like that CEO that you talked about who's gracious and makes the best decisions. So I really loved your point about, getting your body right. And then also when I first met you years ago over in San Francisco, we were at a breakfast meeting, 7 a.m. I remember it like it was yesterday, but you'd already gotten up and worked out profusely before we got together. So obviously you know this to be true by example, taking care of your body.
I totally think, why is it that we take care of our cars? Oh, I got to get the car washed. I got to get this thing. And yet over the course of our lifetime, we're going to own 30, 40, 50 cars. We only get one body. You only get one body. Hello, folks. I mean, I think it's worth thinking here. And more importantly, everything you put into your body comes out of your body. Now, I'm not going to go down a weird road with this, but what I'm saying is this, that if I exercise my body and I work out every morning to start the day, and it's amazing at how it just changes your perspective. It also gives you a sense of discipline. One of the things that top performing salespeople are extremely disciplined. And the vast majority of top performing salespeople have an absolute regiment when it comes to how they take care of their bodies. And I'm not saying that they don't eat, they blew this meal. No, but what I'm saying is that overall, they're at the top 5-10% of how all humans take care of their body in terms of working out, in terms of exercising. It really does. And to start the day, it means I got to get up earlier. You're right. But you know what? I love those first couple hours of the morning. I get up at 4:45 every morning. And I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. Definitely. Not 4:45. I think I'm probably about 5:15 mark or 5:30. I'm in the neighborhood when my body wakes up, and I go to bed early too. I'm really trying to maximize my time. And speaking of time, that was the other thing that I pulled from your book that just really, really resonated with me. That again, guilty as charged. Sometimes I don't have a full plan, and I just loved your whole notion on your Monday mission. And Monday doesn't start on Monday; it starts the day before. And Mark, I put together this visual for us for people seeing this, and for people who are listening. This visual has a clock, it has a cog. It has, some goals, if you would, some line items, like a checklist. And then it has a bar chart with an upward arrow. But, these are some takeaways, Mark, that I had from understand what you were writing about. Just, you got to manage your time. You need to be intentional about your time and have some intentional disciplines, like the time you wake up and working up. That's the cog in my mind. You need to have some goals for the day, goals for the week, goals for the year, etc. But those are kind of the checklist. And then you get these things right, good things are going to happen. But I'd love anything you have to offer with this.
Yeah, here's several pieces. First of all, tomorrow begins today. And you talked about how you start on Monday, so you really got to begin Sunday night preparing. And that's really the same thing you got to do every day. Here's a couple things. People love to have their goals. And especially this time of year, as we're recording this in the fall, and people may be saying, oh, I'm falling way short of my annual goals, so I got to scramble on everything. Don't scramble on everything. It's just do one thing. Do one thing and do it well. There's about 3 or 4 different major objectives I am working on right now, major projects. I can't work on each one each day. No, I can't. I might be able to work on one, and that's it. And that's okay. I compartmentalize the activities I'm going to do each day. Now, here's a couple key things to keep in mind. I compartmentalize the bigger activities I do every day. But there are certain things that I do every day. How I start the day. Like I said earlier, I work out every morning. I review my objectives for the day. I review my goals. I look at my calendar. I'm obsessed with looking at my calendar, so I know exactly what blocks. I set meetings with myself. In other words, I set meetings with myself. I have a 2-hour meeting later today with myself just to work on one of my big projects, period. And don't bug me during that. Clients could call, customers, I'm not going to take it. I'll get to it. And you're not giving good service. No, I am. I'm giving great service. If I sit here and call you back 2 seconds after you call me and you're an existing client, what am I doing? I'm teaching you to rely on me for everything. Well, on the one hand, well, isn't that great? No, it's not great, because now you're just at their beck and call. Busy people are busy people. So if it takes an hour to respond to somebody, fine. But okay, let's get back on track here. Here's the key thing about where you're focusing your time. There are certain metrics and I call them metrics, that you cannot deviate on. One of the greatest sales books, in fact, I think it's the greatest sales book ever written, is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Well,
Yeah.
it's not a sales book. It's not a sales book, but I'll tell you what, everybody needs to read it. And one of the things is a small things done every day yield big results. My one metric, the one metric I have from a selling standpoint, is that I have to have 5 conversations a day. I know that if I have 5 conversations a day, my pipeline's going to be full. Now, those 5 conversations can be face-to-face. They could be by way of a video message. It could be by way of a phone call. It could be by way of a rapid exchange of text messages or a rapid exchange of emails. But it's in the moment conversation. And I know that if I have 5 conversations a day, so I set my entire day around how I'm going to have that. And oh, by the way, who qualifies as a conversation? Only those people who can hire me, who have hired me, or could refer me. That's it. That's it. See, so in other words, I get it narrowed down. But by staying absolute focused on that, and this is what happens, too many salespeople is they pinball. They react to the day. I don't react to the day. I act on the day. So I say, okay, where are my 5 conversations going to come? Now, I may have a couple of meetings that are scheduled. Great, terrific. And I still, so guess what? I got to be on the phone. I got to be on the phone making calls. I got to be coordinating. I got to be making stuff happen, because at the end of the day, I want 5. Now, what happens if I don't make 5? Do I shoot myself? No. Okay. It's okay. But I assess why. Why didn't I get 5? And how am I going to make it up? So in other words, by the time Friday afternoon rolls around, I know that I've achieved 25, or I got to be scrambling, making phone calls to get to 25. Here's what I found. When I can have 5 conversations a day, I feel really good. I feel really, really good. That's great. And it gives me a sense of satisfaction. I may not have closed sales. Because again, this is just like, if we go back to a football game, you want to put points on the board. The only way you put points on the board is by running the plays on the field. See, the plays on the field, those are the things that I'm doing to have the 5 conversations. That's what your Monday mission is all about. How do you get yourself structured and set up to where you know exactly what you're going to be doing, when you're going to be doing it, not just for Monday, but for the week. And then you repeat that process every day.
You bet, Mark. No, I love it. And it's just kind of it's a virtuous circle as what's going on in my brain right now as you speak about that, just how to get things right. I did appreciate in your books, I'll flash that again for people that are seeing this, but A Mind for Sales, Mark also talks about, just some ways if you are in a funk or thing, you didn't have a perfect meeting, you might be knocked off the track a little bit. Mark gives a lot of different ways to get your mindset right again. So you can get into a high performance mode, because things happen to all of us. Nobody has a perfect day. But how do you deal with that? Deal with the adversity or curveballs? How do you manage those? So Mark, I really appreciate your wisdom that you provide and how to do things like that. Well, Mark, this has been a great dialogue so far. Just anything else that you wanted to get out there that people should be thinking about before we break? Or
here's a few things. Here's a few things that we really want. In the absence of trust, low price is everything. Now stop and think about that. And that first graphic that you put up there, that first step 1 was to create trust. So many times salespeople run past it. Salespeople run past that. And what they think is that, I've built trust. Hold it. We don't know what trust is. It's up to the customer to define it. And one of the things that I challenge people is to not proceed with trying to deliver any kind of insights until you've really done a good enough job of building trust and understanding their needs. Now, this is cool because understanding your needs and building trust go hand in hand. Here's why. It's about asking questions. Too many salespeople put all their time and effort into developing a great sales presentation. I wish we would put as much emphasis in developing great questions. Because if we develop great questions, we're going to be able to really understand the customer's needs a lot better. Because here's if you want to develop trust, one of the easiest ways to develop trust is you ask the customer a question, and they share. And then you simply ask them a follow-up question. You ask them to explain further. You ask them to share with you more insights. You ask them to explain more. Here's what's happening. They are simply now beginning to realize that you actually care about what they say. You value what they say. And oh, by the way, you're learning more insights. Now, you want to take the trust thing a step further. You just repeat this process over and over again. You keep asking them questions on whatever they share with you, and you drill down. And then we'll say the meeting ends. And then you come back to them in an email. You come back to them in a voicemail, maybe the next meeting. Hey, last time we met, Bruce, last time we met, you shared X, and you repeat exactly what they shared with you. They're going to sit there and go, oh, wow. No, it's because you wrote it down in your CRM system. Yeah, you wrote it down. But
absolutely.
Yeah, but it's amazing at how customers will suddenly sit there and put you in a completely different light. Then they're going to share with you what their real needs are. Because here's the whole thing. The definition of trust is when the customer will share with you proprietary information. Let me back that up again. The definition of trust is when the customer will share with you proprietary information. What does this mean? This means that they're sharing with you something not known publicly. They're sharing with you something that other people don't know. But see, they're willing to share it with you because they trust you. You don't have a level of trust until they're doing that. Think about that.
Mark, I want to mention one more thing on the power of questions. Oh, my goodness. I believe in that so much. And I do see it misused a lot where the question's more self-serving, where the seller's trying to get answers for themselves versus questions that are really customer-serving, buyer-serving. I'd love to give you an example of that. And typically when I'm working with clients, Mark, I'll ask this question, to leaders who happen to be sellers as well. I'll ask them, hey, what's that deer in the headlights question you like to ask your customer? And I did this for Emphasis, the head of their cloud services unit, really big unit, which was overseen also by their executive committee, because it was such a big area of their business at the time I was working with them. And I asked Vishnu that question. Vishnu, when you're in front of a CIO, what's that question you ask that puts them like a deer in the headlights, where they're just kind of on stun mode?
Right.
And he just kind of smiles. He goes, oh, that's easy. And he said, Bruce, here's my setup. I'll ask I'll mention to them that, hey, I've looked across all the major data sources, Gartner, IDC, et cetera, and pretty much everybody's saying that in 3 years' time, over 70% of enterprise workloads need to be cloud-based. So he'd say that, and then he'd pause for impact and let them internalize that. And then he'd say, so where do you think you're going to be, Mr. Enterprise CIO? Are you going to be ahead of benchmark, at benchmark, or behind benchmark? And then he'd pause again and let their wheels turn in their brain and process that. But the reason that's such a powerful question that he had is it really got the client to see their situation in a new light. It was an insight-infused question. Not self-serving, hey, what's your budget, Mark? But, no, getting you to think differently about your situation by the question Vishnu asked. So powerful. That's a question that an executive would appreciate being asked. Because the type of question, a guy named Chris Orlob, you probably know him in industry, but he was telling me, Bruce, that's the type of question where that executive needs to cancel his next 2 meetings so he can go walk around the block thinking about it. The question that good.
Yeah, I love what you shared there because they're so powerful, because you laid out a problem, but he wasn't telling the CIO, here's your problem. You got to fix this. He was inviting the CIO to fix it on their own by asking for their opinion, asking for their view. One of the things that I found is so key in sales. Just ask people their opinion. Ask people their views, because it's amazing how much people will share with you. The further up you go in the food chain, so like he was asking this question of a CIO, they have opinions. Oh, you bet they have opinions. They're not hesitant to share their opinions. So you set the table, and you allow them to share. And then you just sit there and listen. You just listen. And that's one of the challenges that I think we as sales, if you have the right mindset, you're comfortable going into a sales call and allowing the customer to drive. Whoa, what did he just say? Yeah, you're comfortable allowing the customer to drive, because you know that at any point you can, if you need to make a shift, you can check. But again, you realize that you're here to serve the customer. You are here to serve the customer. So it's just letting them share with you their insights. If I go in and I try to preach, the customer shuts down. This is why I spend more time developing the questions. And you go in with that mindset. My mindset is, I'm just going to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and the respect to be able to come back and share with that person again. If I do that, I'll get a sale out of it in time.
One thing we've been thinking about, Mark, back to our mission, and is turning sales reps into value professionals their buyers would love. It's a mindset of value. And what we've been talking about is, are you delivering value that buyer would appreciate at each of these critical touch points? Is there value there? What do you think of that orientation, that philosophy?
Absolutely key. Now, here's the whole thing. Value isn't always, hey, I'm laying this product feature on the table or this on the table. Value could be you. Value, and this is so understated. Yeah. Value, many at times, it's just you and what the questions you're asking, the conversation you bring. That's value. So don't discount yourself. Too many salespeople, remember, you are not the carrier of the solution. You are part of the solution.
Totally.
Whoa.
Yeah. I want clients to see, people impacted by us, Mark, just going, oh, wow, here comes value walking down the hall, or wow, hey, the value guy just called. I got to call him back.
Yeah.
That's, that type of orientation.
It's huge. Yeah.
Well, Mark, this has been a good one. Man, we could go on and on, as you and I had discussed, but I do want to call out everybody, just please grab Mark's books. They're just fantastic, and certainly engage Mark. Mark, any advice for how to engage? I know you've got a community and different types of way people can interact with you.
Yeah, Bruce, what's funny is in this day and age, if you can't be found on the internet, you must not be relevant. So I always say, just type in Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. I'm there.
Mark, just an interjection. I'm so sorry, but when ChatGPT first came out, I asked, who are the top sales experts in the world, and you are in the top 10, my friend. You are known, and you can be found.
Well, I guess I fed ChatGPT with the right information. Hey, here's the thing. Sales is not a solo activity. Sales is a team sport, just like what we're doing here today. Bruce, you and I are having a conversation like we're sharing with the sales community. I've got a couple podcasts. One is the Sales Hunter podcast. Gee, that's an original name. And the other is Sales Logic. It's a podcast I co-host with a good friend of both of ours, Meredith Powell. I'm all over LinkedIn. LinkedIn is probably my go-to place where we're posting their content, but the website, thesaleshunter.com. I just have fun. Sharing everyday insights, because my goal is to help others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. And if I do that, I'll earn the right, the privilege, honor, and the respect to be able to come back and talk with them again.
Awesome, Mark. Well, you've earned the right. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for spending time with us and our audience, and just really appreciate your contribution to the industry. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
What an insightful conversation with Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Mark's perspective on having a value-driven mindset, seeing sales as something we do for people, not to people, reminds us why we do what we do here at ValuePros.io. Remember, if you're looking to up your game, Mark's books, especially A Mind for Sales, are invaluable resources. And if you're eager to keep learning, check out Mark's Sales Hunter podcast and his work on LinkedIn, and engage with his offerings at thesaleshunter.com. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep bringing value that your buyers will love.